to get your crazy self together, to get your faith built up, to get the guts and the fortitude to be able to speak truth to power and say, I'm about to walk in it. Somebody say, I'm walking in it. God has prepared something for you. 1 Kings 8:56 in the New Living says, praise the Lord who has given rest to his people Israel, just as he promised. Somebody say, not one word. Not one word has failed of all the wonderful promises he gave through his servant Moses. Not one word. Whatever God said, it came to pass. Is there anybody here that's ever gotten a word? God is no respecter of persons. If he didn't fail for Moses, he ain't gonna fail for you. Look at your neighbor and say, feet don't fail me now. God is not gonna allow your life to slip away from what he has already designated as your resting place. God has already predetermined what it is that you're supposed to manifest in, and God won't let anything see. I've learned this morning when God said, Mark, if I have been perfect for Moses, he said, let me shoot the technical foul shot. You coming up against some technical fouls on your way to destiny. And because you want to prove that you can manifest, you keep stepping to the line. And you trying to take care of it yourself. But see, the problem with us is that all we do is shoot it. But God said, I've got follow through. Oh, y'all ain't help me. God told me the reason I never miss is because I've got perfect follow through. And he said, and what you can do now about what's coming against you and about what you need to do, he said, give me, this is what the Lord told me. He said, give me a portfolio praise. And I said, Lord, what's a portfolio? He said, go look at my portfolio. Start with Genesis 1 and see how bad I am, and watch what I did for every one of the servants that trusted in my name. So I dare some of you, even though God hasn't done it yet, think back to what you know God's done. If it's not just the Bible, but for some crazy people sitting around you, and just look at them and give God a portfolio praise. He's able to do it, so that means he's gonna do it. God's gonna bring it into your life. He's gonna make it happen. Every time something needed to happen, God said it, and then it was. And it wasn't just was, it was good. God's getting ready to say something, and then the Spirit's gonna move on something, and then you're gonna be able to say, it was good. I've been trying to figure out why God started in the evening and the morning, and it was the first day. Now, I'm not saying that this is completely hermeneutically correct, but I am saying there's a slight earthly revelation in the reason why he did it evening and morning. Because most times, God needs you to be asleep when he's getting ready to do his handiwork. He'd rather you wake up to it than to spend all day getting in the way of it. God's trying to do it when he brought the woman out of Adam. He made Adam go to sleep. The problem with man is we always keep trying to help God do something. Look at your neighbor and say, rest your neck. Let God do it. Weeping and do it for a night. But joy cometh in the morning. I'd rather wake up to it than to have my hands on it and keep delaying what God's trying to do for me. Somebody say, wake up. It might not be Folgers in your cup, but God's got a cup for you. He's got a destiny for you. He's got a plan for you that's going to blow your mind. That's the type of God we serve. And that's why when we read 1 Peter, we get encouraged. Because when Peter says it in verse 10, 1 Peter chapter 5, He says not only are we not going to suffer a while, but he's going to make us perfect. That word perfect, we know that anytime you see the word perfect in the King James translation, it's speaking to a place of maturity, a place of wholeness and growth. But directly, it means to complete thoroughly. It means to repair. It means to mend. It means to adjust. So after you suffered a while, I'm going to complete something thoroughly in you. I'm going to repair everything that was damaged. I'm going to mend all your nets. And then I'm going to make the proper adjustments. If you look at it in the New Living Translation, he says that after you have suffered for a little while, he says, I'm going to restore you. God is bringing restoration to the individual and the church. Look at your neighbor and say, what today is? I'm going to tell you. Today is 1 Kislev 5771. It's November 7th, 2010. Now remember that the year 71 is a year that signifies for us perfecting, maturing, and resuscitation. It's a number that signified power and the answering of prayers in the Hebraic gematria. But did you know that Kislev is the 9th month of the Hebrew calendar? Yeah, see, y'all heard me say it earlier, line upon line, precept upon precept. This is the month of birthing. Remember, God said, I'm tired of holding my tongue. I'm about to loose it like a woman giving birth. Kislev is the month of birthing. It is also the same month that the children of Israel, known as Noah and his 3 sons, saw the rainbow after the flood. So not only is it a month of birthing, but it's also a sign of covenant. So what ultimately signifies this particular month is something called the Rosh Chodesh Kislev. And it's celebrated because the moon came back. Every first of the month, the moon comes back. And so the Jews would celebrate the moon coming back because it was a sign of restoration. But what was significant about Kislev is that when the moon came back this time, it was supposed to restore and reproduce something. Now, I know some of you are very religious. Go to Colossians chapter 2, verse 16, and you'll quote me something like this. Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink or in respect of a holy day or of the new moon or of the Sabbath days. But the problem with that is it says, let no man judge you. So in other words, if I don't hold the Jewish letter to law, no one can condemn me because I'm not of the letter, I'm of Christ. However, watch verse 17. He said, which are of a shadow of things to come, but the body is of Christ. So if it's a shadow, then that means that it's coming around the corner. Somehow I'll be coming around the mountain when I come. God is bringing something around the corner. There was something that was hidden that he's trying to bring to light. If Christ is that light, then the full manifestation of what was a shadow is about to be applicable to my life. And I'm trying to help you. Alexandrian hermeneutic says if I take an Old Testament principle, I can apply it to my right now situation, and it's good because God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So I'm trying to say that if old natural Israel had a type or a shadow of a new moon, then the spiritual Israel, we can celebrate it too. But we don't celebrate it in the natural, we celebrate it in the spirit. You don't believe me? Go now to Romans chapter 2, verse 28. The natural was a type for a spiritual. For he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly. And circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God. 1 Corinthians 15:46. You stay with me. You're going to need about a tape. Get the DVD. I don't know. But you don't want to miss this. It's one of these ones you want to get. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural. And afterward, that which is spiritual. So in other words, whatever the Jews did in the natural, we need to do in the spirit. First natural, then spiritual. So I'm trying to tell you that this Rosh Chodesh Kislev is important to us. Why? Because it signified that under the oppression and the onslaught of the enemy, dealing with the times, all political, economic, and social difficulties, here it is, on this day, this very day, the people of God would have the resolve to rise up from their oblivion, and that they were going to be restored as the great and glory-filled children of God. That as a child of God, it means that this day signifies the beginning of you growing back to your full potential. This is a day that says you're going to walk in the fullness of what God intended for you.